So we're into advanced plugins now. We're going to talk about TextCommands, StringProviders, and ContextProviders.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go in. DevExpress, new plugin. I'm actually going to attempt to at least partially implement a feature request that we have had for actually, I want to say, embarrassingly, maybe years. Something we've never done because it was like, we were like, well, okay, we'll get around to that. We always lowered the priority of it, and by golly, it's about to become, if we do this right, we'll release it. Let me show you the feature request. So it has to do with templates that create backing store. They create a property of type string. Whoops, let me undo that and take off caps lock here. Property of type string, and we'll call this first, and come down here and create a property of type string, call this second. What happens is it declares the field right above the property in both cases. And the request has always been, hey, can we group my fields together? And we were like, well, there's another plugin that we ship source code to that allows you to organize things, which you can, compile and install if you want. Yes, it's on our list, but we've never implemented it. And so now let's change that. So let's go over here. We've created a new plugin. We're going to call this CR, and I'll call this plugin. I got to give this a good name. And I'm thinking of I have no creativity at all at this point. Let's call this the template go-to. That's what I'll call that. Okay?
Okay.
I'm clicking OK here. I'm clicking OK here. We've been through this already when we talked about templates before. I'm just hitting OK to all of those default options. Let me go put this over on this side. So now we have our design service. So we need to drop on from the toolbox the pieces that are from the DX core, which are down here in this folder and in this folder. So by the way, today I'm running on a full official install of CodeRush. In the past, I've done demos from another machine that's had my build on it, but this has got a 10.2.5 build on it. So that's the version I'm using. This feature that we're building is likely to come in 11.1, unless something unexpected totally happens to derail that. So what we want to do is we want to get a text command, and let's talk a little bit about a text command. We've seen them in the past. We've used them in the past inside of our options dialog in the editor templates page, and they're available on other pages as well. But they allow us to come in here and do things. They're in this list right here. So these are all the text commands. They allow us to make changes or manipulate the document and work with that document. So that's one of the things that we're going to drop on the form. So let's do that. We'll drop a text command on there. And the text command I want to drop on there is going to be called go-to. So the command name right here is going to be called go-to. And it will accept a parameter, and the parameter will tell it where to go. So the idea is when a template expands, we're going to see the go-to text command. It will then move the insertion point to the specified location and then continue expanding. And then later we can come back when we're done. So we'll say go-to, and up here we'll call this txt go-to. This is just the name of the control on the form, so it has a meaningful name right here. In parameters, we're going to need to specify parameters. So I bring this up, click on add, and the name, this will be location. I'm just going to remember this, make a mental note. It's called location with a capital L. And then for description, we'll say the target destination, or the target to move the insertion point to, and then can be one of fields, methods, properties, constructors. I'll keep that for now. All right? And it is not optional. We must specify the location with the go-to. Click OK. Now come over here and do events. Double-click on execute, and now we can write some code. I'm not going to write anything just yet. Let's come back over. Now, so we have a go-to, so we're going to be able to say go to fields. But what if no fields exist? Then we want the template to do something different, right? If I tell it go to fields and there aren't any there, we're going to have a problem. It won't know where to go. So we'll need to have some way to respond if there are no fields. And in order to put this kind of conditional question inside of a template. Is this a state or is that a state? We use the context picker, which is this area right down here. And here, for example, this template will only expand if we're in a class, but we're not in a comment. To be able to specify a context here, here you can see this as it's satisfied when the editor caret is inside a comment. We can build these and add these with a plugin. The thing to remember is the path here. Editor, code, that's where we are. That's where I want to put my context has fields. Right now we have a has member, but we don't have has fields. So I want to create a new context and add it there. So back over to the toolbox, and we're looking for a context provider. Looks like that. There's the little checkbox and the X right next to it. Drag it over here. Let's fill out some properties. So the provider name, this is the important one. You want this to be unique and also specify that path. So we're going to say editor/code/has fields. Okay, it makes sense maybe to also I could make this more generic, simply has, and then you specify a parameter. But I think it's a little easier to use in the context to not specify a parameter for fields. Instead, I just say has fields, and then let's give it a meaningful name. CTX. Oops, CTX has fields. And the display name is updated there automatically for us. You can change this if you want some other translation, or if you want to put, like, for example, a space there, you can do that if you want to make that clearer. This is the piece that is stored and that is going to be stored in the context when we store that. And then a description here, satisfied if the active class has fields. So over here, we're going to click now on this. We're going to double click on context satisfied. And by the way, Rory and Amanda, watch for questions. If you are listening and watching this and you have questions, you're watching it live, type them right into the question UI there, and we will get to those. Just want to make sure we answer all your questions.
Even if maybe we quickly shoot past some point that maybe we've covered before, we don't mind asking or answering some of those questions in the side there either. So any problems you might have, any little queries, just feel free to add them straight there, and we'll get to them as soon as we can.
Right. Thanks, Rory. And okay, so we've got our context satisfied. So I'll fill this in a minute as well. So if we have fields, then we're going to just go there and we're going to put the new fields there in the new location. But if we don't have fields, sometimes developers might want to delimit those fields with either a region that says the word fields around it, like sometimes, like if my fields are like whoops, let me go to a blank line. So if I have fields like this, I like to maybe sometimes put these in like something like region private fields like this. I like to do something like this, put a region around it. Or some people might want to just have a comment up at the top that says it. But whatever that is, it might be nice to allow people to specify that. And to allow people to specify that and get that string back, I'm going to use another feature, another component I'm going to drop over here, which is a string provider. In fact, I'm going to have two of those. One for the header and one for the footer that we'll use for the fields if they don't exist to declare that.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll specify some property values down here. So we'll call this field footer, and give it a meaningful name, SP field footer, like that. Give it a description, the field declaration section, like that. The reason I'm putting descriptions in is because all of this, when it's compiled, is going to show up in the CodeRush user guide. So right in here in the CodeRush user guide, we'll see all of this up here. So it's all self-documenting. So down here, we're going to say the header for a new field declaration section, and we'll give this also give the control itself on the form a good name. Call this SP field header. Whoops, looks like it took out the SP at the beginning. All right, so again here we're going to go grab their events, get string for this one and get string for the other one. And at this point, Rory, I'm going to run.
I figured you might.
So so we'll do this. Now, the other day I did this, and I noticed some delays, and then so I'm not sure if we're going to see these or not, but I talked to the devs about it, and I didn't get a chance to check out the answer. It looks like we're not having those delays now, so maybe it was like a first-time run thing. I'm not sure, but we'll see. If we do encounter them, we'll just edit those out for the folks that watch the non-live version, and the folks that watch the live version will go to Rory and Amanda to fill in because I got nothing. So, all right. So we're in this new. We've started up a new instance of this. Let's open up a project. Let me close this down. We'll open up my comic book project. Now this was one of the parts where I saw the delay. Let's see what we get here, if this resolves it quickly or not. Yeah, this might be the, yeah, this is one of them. So opening on the project, I saw this delay. And it's only when we are debugging from one instance. So I asked the devs to look into this. It was debugging plugins from one instance of Visual Studio to another. And so this was, it was on a new install. So if what's your experience with this, Rory? Have you seen this?
I get it occasionally, not as often as we seem to experience with the webinars. Maybe 1 out of every 10 is slower. It's not a consistent thing, especially when I rerun the same plugin again and again and again. It doesn't seem to happen maybe 3rd or 4th time. So
yeah, so I noticed it was taking about 2 minutes to go through this. I did find what appeared to be a workaround, which was to detach, which I might do and then reattach later. Let's do that. Try and do that for the benefit of everybody that's listening, and we'll see if that works for us here. So let's go in. We'll say debug detach all, and then we'll come back in and reattach again because we need to write some code and do edit and continue. Yeah.
I would also say that when I do
get
the delay, it's only something like 20 seconds or so. It's not a very long delay.
Yeah, it's very strange. So yeah, I'll have the devs look into this. So here's what we're talking about. We're talking about that template that expands when I type in, for example, PS. So that's what we want to modify. So I expand the template because I want to go in and make a change to the way it expands. When I expand a template, and you go to the templates options page, the last template you expanded is right up there at the top. Let's see. I want to auto hide this thing right here. Properties, auto hide. Oh man, this is crazy to me. I've seen this happen before. I have to change it, click OK. This is like a bug in Windows. Auto hide. Ugh. Have you seen? Am I the only one that has to deal with this? All right. So okay, now auto hide. Oh, I had it auto hide. All right. Let me do this. Let me force it down, and it won't let me force it either. Apply one more time, just to see that I'm not crazy. Apply. It's gone. Oh, and it's back. All right, interesting. Oh, interesting. All right. Well, we'll keep it up for now, and then I'll investigate that more later. So, the p-type template expanded. That was followed by the letter S. S is for the type. I'm going to right-click this, choose Jump to Read Write Property Alias. This has several expansions in it. The one that we hit was this one, in class or struct. The one above that looks like it is checking to see if variable matches auto-implemented, which in that case it was not. So we're in class or struct, and what happens there is we just jump out to another template called property read write. So we go here, and there are 2 lines. The first one is the property variable declaration, and then second one is we set the scope for the property, we specify the type, and then the body of the property. So this must be where the fields are. So let's jump to that alias, property var declaration. So now we're at property var declaration, and this is what comes out here. So what we want is something different from this. So let's build it. So the first thing that I think I want to do is store the location where I currently am. And there's already a text command that does that. I think we talked about this last time, Rory, called store insertion point. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it prop deck, like that. Okay? So there's my insertion point. I'm storing it. And then I need, at the very end of this whole thing, I need to go to the insertion point. And I'm pretty sure it's just go to insertion point is what that is. Let's just double check before I manually make the code change. Yeah, go to insertion point. So we'll change this to go to insertion point, like that. Whoops, is it with a lowercase g, or lowercase t, I mean? It is. I'm not sure if case matters, but I'm going to assume it does.
I believe typically it does, yeah.
Okay, so I'm specifying insertion point. I'm also making that name of that insertion point something that's highly unlikely to be collided with. Okay, because as soon as I start showing this, maybe other people will start using this, and if they use a template that calls this, they don't want their insertion point to step on this one because it's not stack-based, it's simply name-based. It's like a dictionary of insertion points. So after that, I then want to make a call to goTo, which should now be showing up in here. There's goTo. Okay, inside goTo, I want to pass it a parameter called fields. Okay, so goTo fields. And then we're going to put our field declaration. So I'm going to just keep it like here for now to be simple, I think. Actually, you know what? Let's build the whole thing, just in case, because like I said, I was having some top performance problems as well, bringing up the options dialog. So what I want is two versions of this. I want one if there are no fields, and a second one if there are fields. So let's come in here, right-click, and choose Create Duplicate, give it the same name. And this is how you set up alternate expansions in the templates. And so for this one, we'll come in here, if editor code has fields, and look at this, when we hover over it, satisfied if the active class has fields. That's why I took the time to specify the description, right? You saw me type that in, and now it's showing up. So it's self-documenting. The changes we're making are being documented. So if it does not have fields, then what we'll do instead is we'll do this. We'll get rid of this and we'll get rid of that, and instead right here we'll right-click and we'll say Insert String Provider, and I called it Field Header.
Yep.
There's that, and over at the end we'll insert the string provider, which is Field Footer.
Good stuff.
Okay, so I've got Field Footer at the beginning, field header at the beginning, field footer at the end of that. And so that will give us the header and footer if those are specified. So now I'm going to click OK. And let's attach and see if we can get our breakpoints. So this is comic book, and this one's comic book too. Let's close this one down so I don't attach to the wrong one. And let's come over here and see if we can attach to that. Attach process. I actually haven't tried this to see if I can do this, but I was like, let's give it a shot. Attach. So really what I want to be able to do is set breakpoints here and here. Oh, it looks like they're giving me the breakpoints.
Good stuff.
Okay. So if this is like the first one you happen to be watching, you know, when I said I'm going to run and you heard Rory say, I figured you'd do that. This is the way I like to build plugins. I lay out the framework and then I like to write the code at runtime because I actually have objects I can explore and I can actually determine the code I want to write by looking at the objects.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go over here. Let's expand that PS template. So PS template, the first thing that comes up is has fields. Is that context satisfied? So this is for the active class. So if I want to work with the active class, no edit and continue. Well, that's going to be painful. All right. I am so
That's because you do a manual attach, isn't it?
And upset, yeah. So I'm going to just abort that because we had to write code. So let's write some code and we'll fill it in this way. So I'll do my best to do it without live objects. So when I want to work with the active bit of code, I can go into CodeRush.source, and I have a whole bunch of properties here that start with the word active. Hold on a second, I got a cough here. Excuse me, I'm going to mute my mic. Oh, sorry about that. Okay, so CodeRush source. So if I want the active class, I get the active class. Once I'm there, hit CodeRush refactor key, choose declare local. There's my active class, copy to keyboard, come down here, type in INR, if null, then return. Okay, so very fast to get this bit of code right here. Now that I have active class, I can now access a property in it called all fields. Select that, copy. So I use IntelliSense to get to that point. Selected it, copy to clipboard, type in FE, and now it builds this for me, for each, right? For each base variable, all field in it. I want to change, we'll just use all field for now, and I'll rename that in a second. So at this point, if I'm inside the for each, I know the context is satisfied. So I want to say EA dot satisfied equals true, and then return. And then I don't, it by default assumes it's not satisfied, so I don't need to do anything else.
Yeah.
That's that method. It's done. Okay. Field header, let's write this one right here. EA dot value equals, let's say region, space, fields, like that. Let's maybe do an ENL, environment new line, at the end of that. So it'll put it down there.
Oh.
And then we'll copy that, come down here in the footer, and we'll just say an end region here. So it's very, right now it's very C# specific. It's very specific to just working with fields. And let's do the opposite of this. Let's take the new line at the beginning. ENL can give me new line as a template. All right, like that. So it's very language specific right now, but when we roll this into a feature, we'll make it so there's an options page that drives this. In fact, in one of our upcoming webinars on plugin building, I'm sure we're going to talk about options pages, and that's when I'll take this plugin probably and build an options page for it in the background. Okay, go to. This is the last one we have to write. You know, at this point, Rory, at the end of this, when you see how few lines of code this is, I think you're going to be like, you waited that long to implement the feature? Like, seriously, what were you doing? Seriously.
Well, what can we say?
let's go ahead and we'll get this. So inside the execute text command event args EA dot, we have something called insertion point, and inside of insertion point you have a method called move. Okay, so we're going to get to that. That's what we want to do. What we want to do is, since we're going to the fields, we want something that gets us to all the fields. So I'm going to just copy that, come in here and paste it. All field has a, whoops, oh, I need the active class part as well. Let's go take this up here. All right. All field has a property in it called ranges. And these are all the ranges where that field is declared. It's actually plural because it's possible for there to be partial declarations for certain kinds of elements in certain languages, and so that's why it's plural. So what we want to do is do a for each through that, and this is going to be of type source range. We'll call this range. Okay, now at this point, we're going to have our target location, which is going to be range.sourcePoint. Whoops, hold on. Range.start, I mean. So range.start is the start of the field, right? That's where we are right there. So what we want to do is we want to go in here to ea.insertionPoint.move and pass in one of the positions options is source point, which is what is the same type of range. Okay? And then we want to return to get out of there. And actually we can simply do return here if for some reason this failed or something along those lines. But in general, we're expecting to get right out of here if there are fields, and if there aren't fields, we're not going to execute this at all.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so wait, so go to is there. So is there anything else I'm wondering we need? I think I'm going to say that's it. Let's run it, and bear with me, we're going to get through the, just hold on a second, what's my build arrow? Oh no. Comic book? Is this the problem or no? Oh yeah, this is the problem. Okay, so I'll go ahead and save it. Yeah, so that locked up, the DLL locked up because I didn't close the other application. Let's run, and for anybody watching live, if you have to watch, stick through the delays in opening the project. I might start creating a new project, see if there's any better on that front. See if we can skip some of
that locking problem there, Mark. Studio does seem to love taking locks out on files, and it's one of the main reasons that when I'm developing a plugin, I don't have Studio loaded automatically. I only have it do it precisely when I want it to. So I'll go to the the plugin manager and tell it load up, and that tends to get me around that problem. But it's only because I have so many copies of Studio launching at different times for different projects that I couldn't have all of them taking a lock on my plugin, and then I couldn't edit it again. It's quite a nice facility to use there.
Good tip. All right, so let's see. Did that work or no? Yeah, it seems like we're still experiencing some delay here. So yeah, I am. This is not something I've had a chance to investigate. It only happened on this, as luck would have it, I moved to a brand new machine, and then I see the problem. I'm like, what? Oh, come on. So yeah, something with debugging, having to do with debugging, that takes a while. So this would be a great time if you guys have questions. And ask them now.
There is actually one question here, Mark. It's our good old friend with what looks like is a very foreign name that I can never pronounce. Our friend Prez, perhaps.
You promised to send us a WAV file.
I didn't get a WAV file. What about you? In any case, we'd like to know what the purpose of the multi-file template checkbox is in the options page. It's not quite related to what we're doing, but we were building a template earlier. And in actual fact, I believe there is no official use of that in CodeRush itself. It doesn't ship with any templates that make use of that particular option.
Yeah, I don't even know what this does, actually.
If I'm correct, it was actually put in a few years back when I requested it. The purpose is to expand the undo scope to multiple files. So it takes out the undo stack is, I forget the technical way it works, but essentially what it means is that if you undo your template, you will undo changes that you might have made to multiple files at the same time.
I see. Yeah. So
and it was actually similar to what we're doing here, where I built a plugin to literally not change location within the single file, but to jump off to another file and make changes there and come back.
Right.
And it was built to support that.
That sounds exactly what it would be doing. So yeah, inside of Visual Studio, you can create it when you do things like change text and things like that. Even using the CodeRush API to do this. In general, you're working with there are methods that will set up a single undo unit for the file. But if you want to make changes across multiple files, there's a global undo object or something like that you create. And then you start making your changes, and then you wrap up and close up that global undo object, and then that allows somebody to undo and make changes across multiple files all at once. And so yeah, that sounds like exactly what this is probably doing. Is the multi-file template is probably looking at all files changed and giving you a single way out of all of that. So let's see how we're doing over on the other side. We are now responsive. That's great news. So let's now expand the template. Let's type in PS. Property of type string. We're first inside context satisfied. I'll set a breakpoint here and a breakpoint here. I'm going to just hit run, and no fields. Okay, so context is not satisfied. Hit run to continue. Now this is a good sign. We're looking at the field header. It's asking it for us because we said if there were no fields that we would execute a different template that would add this
expansion you made.
Piece. So we're going to just hit run there. It's just returning that string, and then now we're on the footer as well. So we're at the end of the template. And so now, if we scroll up, there we see it. There's our fields. Our property name is there. Not bad. Step 1. So I'm going to just type in the number 1 right here and hit enter. Okay? Let's do it again. PS for property of type strings. Now we're inside, or still in context satisfied. I'm going to hit run. Now we have fields. And so satisfied is true. We're out. Okay, I can clear that breakpoint there, and I can actually clear all of these. I feel pretty good about this. Okay, so let's hit run. Now we're in GoTo. So now we're in GoTo instead of the other two. So let's step through this. Look at this. Here's our active class. You can get it and take a look at this. Oh my gosh, are we I feel like we're almost done with this session. So we're going all fields. This was like a mind-blowing
record time features.
All ranges. Well, hopefully something will go wrong, and then we'll be able to just spend some time fixing it. So insertion point move to range start. We've done it, and we're done. We're out. Okay. Hit run, and let's see what we end up generating here. Maybe something went wrong. Something did not go wrong. Okay. So now we're going to specify 2. Okay. And now oh wait, what's this?
What's the big gap?
I don't know.
Did you just hit space a bunch, maybe?
Oh, interesting. I wonder, let's see. I think just happened. Oh, interesting. So look at this. I think what happened was this. We had a link between these. Let me go back and undo it all the way to the beginning. Okay, so watch this. PS, okay, let me clear this and this. Run. All right, so it gives me this. I type in 1. What you don't see is there's a link that the template gives us on the string. What we do is we say go to the beginning and then insert your header, which is insert a new line so that we can specify the next field. And when we do that, it's like coming up here and hitting enter, or actually physically inserting, pasting it in, and it extends. I just broke the link here. Let me undo it again by actually hitting enter. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on, let me undo this a second. All right, here we go. One more time. PS. Okay, 1. So what's happening is this piece still exists when it's going in and inserting. Yeah. So we can think about how we're going to fix that right there. When I go in and do 2, PS again, here's 2. Let's do this so we just see more of the effects just running. Like that. So this time it did not happen. That's interesting. So I have a theory as far as what's causing it. Let's try one more time. PS, do 3. Let's see if that moved. There, it moved down there. So something the devs will have to look at. Right, can you make a note of that about 30 minutes in? We want the devs to look at that. All right. So
still, notwithstanding the space issue, that has achieved pretty much what you set out to.
Yeah, it is. It's not bad. The other thing we can do too is we can clear all links. Let's do this. I'm pretty sure there's a CodeRush command to break all links. Let's see if we can actually insert it here, and then we'll maybe create something else to. Oh wait, I have a great idea. So let's do it again. So let's try and get to the problem. I think we have a if cr dot in links linked identifiers dot active.
There's a break all links in range there.
I don't think active is going to. Let's see what find has for it. Ooh, find takes a source range. Let's see, would it find something that it contains? I want to find out if where I'm at is on the edge. Let's just see if find, and it takes a source range. What I'm interested in is if there's a link at the current place that I'm about to insert some text. And it's like I want to add a new context so I can break the link or something like that. The place where I actually am inserting the text that is causing the problem is in the template itself. But let's just we'll write some code right in here that does this. We can say, let's do it here. So if find, and find takes a text document and a source range. So we'll say ea.text document, so that's the active text document, and then the range is going to be just range we'll pass in. So if find, and what does that equal to? What does that give me back? Find gives me, oh, okay, that. All right, so let's do this. Do this, and hit CodeRush refactor key, declare local, call this results, and then come down here and say if not null and results.count. Whoops. Dictionary is unavailable while debugging. I'm not sure what it thought I was trying to do. Not count dot what length. There it is. Dot length is greater than 0. Then I want to set a breakpoint right here. And I just want to see, because this will tell me if it, and I'm going to run it. And I just want to see if we stop. Because if we stop, whoa, we're stopping. Okay, so this is very cool. So we found a linked identifier right there. Results. Okay, so let's do this. So for each on the results, for each was I linked identifier. In results, identifier dot, do we have a break? Or range text document invalidate? That's probably not what I want.
You just want to break that individual link, do you?
Yeah, I kind of want to get rid of it is what I want to do. Let's do something else. See, try this instead. This is awesome, because look what I'm doing, folks. I'm trying to make this work the same way you would. So let's see if we can find something here. Wonder if there's something with break. I'll type in break. Break all links in range. Oh, I'll take it. Pass in a range. Ah, awesome. So easy. Okay? So there we go for break all links in range. In fact, we could have just done this instead. Right? See it?
Check the tape, people.
Check the tape, people. What? Hold on, it doesn't like this. What's going on? What does it not like? It feels like it's not. Let me hit run and see what happens. What does it not like? No overload takes one argument? What'd I do? Oh, it was going to be awesome. The session was going to be awesome.
I think you just need a text document.
Text document, okay. So EA dot text document right there, comma range. All right. Let's see if the problem has gone away now. All right, so let's for, and come up here and do another one, PS. Oh, what, not expanding now? Come on, PS. And why is my template not expanding? Seriously. Let's see what other things are going on. Let's see if what other things can I test here? Let's try C for nested class. C works. So why is PS failing? Okay, probably parser issue is what it looks like. So let's try this. 5. Okay. Down here, PS 6. Scroll up. Everything is looking good so far. I think we fixed it.
It's looking good.
All right. So PS again. All right, 7. So when I said must be a parser issue, must have been that maybe it made a change or something like that. The parser just not caught up, didn't understand context. So okay, so that was like whirlwind. Couple things about these things that we've built here. I guess first let's look in the. Let me show you where they show up in the user guide, so you can get a sense of why that's important to do that documentation. Inside
just
reference.
To check the time here, Mark. That was concept to feature in 37 minutes.
Yeah, with debugging as well. So all right. So and some explanatory text. All right.
True. So
text commands. This is where our go-to is going to appear, and so the documentation for go-to is right there. What? Oh, I unspecified. Okay, apparently I didn't specify a description for go-to. So this is shame on me right here. So maybe we can't quite call this a shipping feature yet. Context. So in the context we have editor/code/has fields. Right? It's right up in about there. So there's our context that we've declared. Satisfied if active class has fields. And then string providers, likewise, they will show up down here. And so you can see some of these are not specified. But that's the importance of specifying that documentation. For GoTo, it's especially important because I did specify documentation for the. Here, let's close this down a second. I did specify it for the parameter, but I forgot to specify it for the main active piece. So let's fix that. And if there are questions, by the way, I'm totally fine doing the questions. Otherwise, I'm going to we'll wrap this up and we'll be done. All right. So let's see here. Properties.
Is there any piece of this that we've covered so far that maybe we hurried over? Something you'd like just to go over just once more, a little bit more detail, or some logical expansion you can see from what we've done already, maybe a little enhancement we might be able to knock together? Please do enter something up in the comments or in the questions there, and we'll do our best to sort that out. Apparently we didn't make use of the location parameter.
Oh, you're right. We totally didn't make use of the location parameter. Why did that work with so little code? That's why. Let's figure that out. All right, so let's do that. Thank you so much for pointing that out. Let's fix that, and I fixed the other piece as well. I love it when people are paying attention. All right, so let's do that. So this basically says go to fields. Let's do this. I want to come in here to range. I want to do, let's select this. Let's extract this method, and we'll call this goTo. And so this goTo is going to break any identifiers in that range, presuming that we're about to make changes. It's a defensive move, okay, is what's happening. So we've got now we've got a call to goTo. I'll hit escape to get back, and let's take this whole piece and let's do an extract method as well out of here. And we'll call this goToFields. And oops.
This in and of itself is a great example of using CodeRush. You get the one static case done first, and then you extract the portions that you want to vary slightly and make it more dynamic as you go, having already ensured that your basic concept is strong and sound.
True. Let me show you one of my favorite refactorings. It's called Decompose Parameter. So here I have execute text command args I'm passing in. Inside of this, for this EA, I'm just using, well, I'm using insertion point.move and text document. So what I was going to do is I was going to say, let's do compose. I still can, but it gives me 2 parameters. I'm not sure I want to do that anymore. I thought it was only going to give me 1, but it's going to give me these 2. But it's something that you can do. So it gets rid of the one parameter and gives you 1 or more other parameters. I'm backing out of this idea now. I'm going to instead just go ahead and work with those execute event args and the range. So go-to range is there. And so this is for go-to fields. I'm finding that is not bad, passing an active class. And so now what I want to do is check to see where I need to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to work with that text go-to object. It's got a parameter called parameters. And inside there we can specify location. That was the parameter we specified. And on that we can call value as what we're interested in, which is string. Okay. I can hit the CodeRush refactor key, declare a local, and we'll call this target. Copy that to clipboard, and now we can say if target equals fields, then what we can do is say go to fields. Okay. Let's do. Let's see. One other thing I want to do on this is show you another refactoring, which I think I have to select these. This is a CodeProvider actually. No, wait, hold on. Use string.compare. So this is an interesting use of refactoring. So I have an equals on a string comparison. I can use string.compare, but then come over here to this parameter which says ignore if case and change it to true. And now I've got a case-insensitive comparison very quickly, right? To go from 1 to this is a lot of code, but to use the refactoring to get it to string compare and then changing that false to true is very fast, right? I just use the letter T and then hit the spacebar to get the true there. That's a CodeRush template. Okay, so now let's run it and see if it works. I almost want to say let's play with this a bit. And L for else, pasting that in, call this methods. Then we'll create something that says go to methods. I'm going to copy that to the clipboard. And let's copy this right here. Grab that. This is the clipboard history. I'm just hitting Control-Shift-Enter to bring that up. So go to methods is here, and now what we want to do is something slightly different here. So we'll choose active class dot all methods, right? Just for completion, type in FE for the for each. Now we've got all methods, and then we should be able to do something like this inside here. With this here, whoops, not there, there, and let's rename this to method so it looks better. Whoops. And let's see, do we have ranges in there? It looks like we do not for methods. So let's just see, do we have method.range?
Yeah,
there we go.
Think so.
All right, so there we have method.range. So then we can say go to EA, comma, method.range. Semicolon here gets me out, and then return. Did I get that or not? Go to is spelled wrong, I see. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Needs an uppercase T. Okay. So that would get us to the methods, and then we can kill this, get rid of that. So now we've got something that goes to methods, and then we might as well, for completion's sake, have something that goes to properties. So let's do that. Go to properties, and all properties, like that. Let's just cut that to the clipboard. And I'll type in FE here. And, you know, one other thing, note to devs, one of the heuristics that you're seeing going on here is if we have something plural, we make it singular. But note to devs, if it starts with the word all, take out the word all, and this should just be like suggesting like a lowercase name property. That should be the base there.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you hear what I'm saying? And I think I saw at least one of our devs watching this, so I think they'll make that change as well. So all right. So all properties. So we'll change that to property, and then down in here we'll probably have property.range as well, I bet. So let's just paste that, get it, grab that, and come in and see if that's correct. All right. Cool. So now we have go to properties. So now we can create a test template that jumps around and maybe puts a comment at each one of these sections, for example. And let's go ahead and we'll run this now and see how that works. Oh no, we've got a lock, and this time it's locked from this particular plugin. So I've seen that happen as well. And so what we have to do in that case is go into DevExpress About. I'm going to shift-click on plugins to close the dialog and bring up also the folders. The folders are over here. We're going to go out there and manually delete the one we just built and start a new version of Visual Studio. So here's template go to. We're going to go delete that and start a new version of Visual Studio. And load up that plugin, build it, and then we'll test it. I think I won't debug it just for speed. For purposes of speed, here we go. Let's open it up. Looks like it's not in our recent history list. Template go to. And people just started filling into the show here at DevConnections. So where we are recording live from. Okay, all right. So that succeeded. Now let's start up a new instance of Visual Studio, and we'll test that out. All right, we'll open up the comic book application. And let's. All right, so the arrows down at the bottom, we can ignore those. Those are just for part of the Consume First declaration demo I was doing. Okay, so let's go into the user guide, and we'll first look at the changes we made to the go-to text command. So now moves insertion point and specified location. Click here, and there you can see the parameters documented. Can be one of fields, methods, properties, constructors. Okay, I didn't implement constructors yet, but I certainly did these. Oh, you know what? I just realized I didn't do the logic at the bottom. I think I missed that logic, didn't I? I wrote, yeah, I've got no call. I've only got a call to go to methods. So only be able to test these two right now. So let's create a template that actually does that tests those. So we'll create a new. We'll go into miscellaneous. We'll create a new template. I'll call it ZZZ. Click OK. And inside here, we're going to say go to. And we're going to pass in fields. And then we're going to say fields, like this. Then I'm going to hit return. That'll then put those fields on the next line. And then I'm going to say go to methods. And I'm going to type in methods. Now I think also at the very beginning I want to store the insertion point and then return it at the very end. Yeah. So we end up right where we left off. So I need go to insertion point and store insertion point. So I'll give this a test.
Good question, Mark. When we store and restore the insertion point, is that like dropping a marker and collecting it? Will the frame, the view, restore as well?
It doesn't restore a view. I'm pretty sure it does not. So it's go to, and this is like for behind-the-scenes manipulation of code. Okay. So it's not the same thing. However, there are methods in the CodeRush API for storing the view and restoring the view, and they're really smart methods. So if you resize the editor, you will get still the view will be restored as it can best be fit in that resized version of the editor. Okay, yeah. I'll show you those. That's in it's going to be, I think, it's just views. CodeRush is it in text views? Yeah, it's in here, I think. Store? No. What is it? Save? Save position. So here you go. So save position. Okay, so save position without a parameter will save on the active view, and otherwise you can specify a particular text view. So we're going to talk about text documents and text views. I think I'm not sure if I'm right, if it's next week or not, but this file that I'm in, plugin.1.cs, that is essentially corresponds to a text document. But this view into it here, this is a text view, and I can have multiple text views, right? I can take this and I can drag it down. Now I have two different views, right, into that. So I can have multiple text views. So so where was I here? Save position returns back a let's declare local, a view position. And then you can store that, and later when you want to restore it, you just call restore on it. And it's that simple, right?
Nice.
It restores selection, it restores view position, caret position. It's the same thing as dropping a marker and hitting escape. That's what the marker code uses, right?
Cool.
I think, remember last week, I think you were saying this, Rory. You said, you know, the philosophy at DevExpress is that if we see a feature or code that we're using in plugins, and we're using it in more than one place, we move it down into the core so everybody can use it. This is a classic example of just that, right? Incredibly powerful methods, incredibly simple API, right?
Yeah.
What could be simpler about saving a position or restoring it, right? I can work right on that object itself, right? And then all I need to do is just make this into a field, widen scope, promote to field on view position, and now I've got it saved, right?
Nice.
So these other things, when we make this call go to methods, and we actually call go to, and this comes in and calls insertion point.move, there is no shifting of the view here. The view does not shift, Rory, when we make this call. Okay? So we could call move, and I'm pretty sure you will not see anything shift. So we'll test this out over here. We're in over this point. We're going to store insertion point. I just want to make sure, double check that it's called store. I've got it right. Test, and then we're going to I want to go to insertion point at the end of this. So after we expand that, but you know what? I need a carriage return right here. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what it's going to look like. I'm going to insert this.
So we're going to insert the two comments in the two relevant places, but without actually moving the view. So it'll just do it behind the scenes, and we'll be able to scroll up or down or maybe and see exactly that it's done that.
And then maybe I will do this. I'll say comments inserted like this, just to give some feedback. Highly, breaching of protocol, I think, but we'll do this. We're using the editor to actually give us feedback. So I'll put the caret there. I'll put the marker there. So this is selected, so it's easy to delete. Click on OK. But it also shows you the power that's here. So I have a method here. I have a field up there. I'm going to come down here inside story, ZZZ space, comments inserted. Let's see what we've got here up here at the top. Fields made it in. Methods also made it in. So the only thing that I'm noticing is it's not the indentation came off, but I'm thinking that might be because of formatting. Let me just hit Control-KD to format the document. I'm not sure. Actually, I'm not sure why that just happened the way it did. But what's interesting is the other pieces did work. So let's do that one more time. See if there's something we need to worry about here. ZZZ. Yeah, so there's definitely something happening there. I'm wondering. Let me try one more time. I want to undo that. Whoops. Let's comment this out. I just want to see if this, curious if this has any connection to it. Okay, so ZZZ, yeah, it still is shifting back. So something with the formatting there that looks like we need to look at with regards to shipping this as a feature, making changes in other places and then coming back. We'll look into that. We'll have the devs look into that and see what's going on. So, but our intention is to take this, well, two intentions. One, take this source code that we just wrote, upload it. I'll put a link from the blog to the community site. It'll be on the community site. That's intention number one, and we expect to do that within a day or two. And then intention number two is to roll this into as a feature into CodeRush 11.1, which is due out the first half of 2011, sometime before June. And that's it. Do we have any other questions, Rory?
We've got a couple items on the right there. There's one saying, can we add so an off-topic question is, can we add a string or is null or empty check to a string? So do we have a refactoring that does that already?
Oh, so a context to see if like a string that's on the clipboard is wait. So I think I need to understand the context of this. Maybe it's something like this, my param like this, for example. And we want to check to see if that is null or empty. We do have something for this, and that's it. Hit the CodeRush refactor key, add contract, and you can choose which contract you want to have here. for example.
That sounds like what we're after there.
Okay, so
Yep.
there's that. If you have it locally, though, there is no add contract on this yet. However, a couple workarounds. For now, you can copy to the clipboard, then use INR template for if null, then return. Oh, but we want something that says or it's equal to string.empty. So I would do SSE here for set string.empty to give me that. So to do that, I have to explain the set templates, and I explained those before, like a while back, but I'll just do them real quickly. So SN set to null, SQuote sets to a string, SSE sets to string empty. These are all assignments, but if they're used inside where an expression is, it gives you a double equals instead. So SSE here gives me the double equals. So I think what the person is asking is for something like this, or alternatively, by the way, there's a refactoring that got me just a template that gives me this, maybe. Maybe I'll throw that out, and if the person asking the question comes back with, yes, they want to see how to create this as a template, that's pretty easy. We just create that as a template. What else do we have, Rory? Any other questions?
We've got one. Oh, actually, no. So we just had confirmation. Yes, that's exactly what he means. That very last thing you mentioned.
So you want to basically get to here, add a contract from here. You want to add this code or some kind of contract like that. Okay, in 11.1, we intend to add this. This is a feature we've already talked about, the ability to add contracts not just for parameters, but also for variables along the way. So yes, you can do that. So right now we can use add contract to, for example, throw an exception or something like that, and we'll be able to do similar things right along at this location in 11.1. Number 2 is you could write this as a plugin. Sometime in the future, Roy and I are going to talk about you creating code providers, and we'll show you when we may do this exact one. Show you exactly how to do this and create this as your own plugin to see if this is null or empty. Pretty easy to do. Let me show you a couple things for plugin devs. Tool windows, diagnostics, expressions lab. This is the tree behind the code. And here, I'll put this right here. And so as I move through the code here, when I put the caret on var name, you can see what it looks like. And it's real easy to get to this using the CodeRush API. And you see it's a type variable here, and it has a child that's of type reference expression that's of type string. Okay? So here, I'll click on it again. There you can see it. Right? So if you're a plugin developer, put the caret on the word string, there you can see. It's real easy to see and find that you're on a variable of type string. In fact, over here, I'll show you the code. It goes something like this. Let me create a new method. Wait, a method that returns a Boolean. One more time. Method returns a Boolean, MB for that, is on string. Var, like that. And then inside here, what we're going to do is we're going to type in CodeRush dot source dot active, and I bet we have an active variable. Wouldn't that be awesome if we had active variable? Oh, we don't. So active value type. Let's see what else we have that maybe active identifier. Active declaration. That'll work. I'll take it. Okay, so we've got active declaration, and then we can say well, let's do this. Use INR here to get out, and then come down here, active declaration dot, let's see what comes into the word type. Type range is type def. Member type. If member type equals, nope, I don't want to say equals. The reason I don't want to say equals string like this is because you can also have, depending on the language, there's different ways to define a string. So what we want to do instead is we want to go into CodeRush.language. I think it's types match. There you go. Types match, and we're passing in two strings here, the member type and string. Or we could say system.string here to be system.string is what we really want to do. Okay, if they match, then what we can do is return true, else return false, and then we can come up here and use CodeRush to come in here and flatten conditional, simply return that, return types match. And this one up here we want to say return false. There we go. And so that's now how we create a method that checks to see if we're on a string var. So that's part of the steps in answering that question of how do we get from here to generating this code. Oh, golly, should I just go ahead and do it? Amanda, have you eaten lunch yet? Are you with me, Amanda?
Yes, I've eaten lunch. I'm still here.
Can you take another 20 minutes?
I bring my lunch now for your webinars.
Oh, you bring your lunch. Good. Let me show you how to do that real quick, as quickly as I can. All right, so we're going to create a new code provider. We'll bring that out, and we'll come over here, and we're going to say code provider. Let's see. We want to give it a provider name, and we're going to say add is null, whoops, or empty. So I won't do the whole thing, but I'll give you enough to get you started. Okay? And I'll skip description, and we're going to go straight over to apply. Well, we need two events. One is check availability, and the other one is apply. So in check availability, we're going to come in here, and we're going to say ea.available equals, and we're going to come in and say call the method we just is. Hold on. This dot is on string var. Okay? So that'll be our availability call. Right? That's just a bool. And then there's another event we need to handle, which is apply. And this is where we need to generate the code. So the code we need to generate, it's a little trickier. The code we need to generating that is a little bit trickier. It involves this piece right here. So let's go do that. So let's see what's inside EA, what we get. Do we get an element builder? New element builder. So we want to create a new element builder, declare local for that, and then down in here in the element builder, we want to call a new if, new, let's see, what do I need here for an if? Add if. So there, that adds the if. The parent in this case is going to be null because it's just the topmost piece. The expression is what we want to pass in next. So the expression is, let's see what we've got here in element builder dot do I have anything that starts with new? No. Add. I have add, and then what else? Oh, build is what I think I want. Build. Yeah. And here I want to build a method call. And the method call has a couple parameters to it. The method call is to string.isNull or empty. This is the call I'm making. Okay? So one of these, in fact, I can just pass in a string. One of these is object, which kind of intelligently tries to deal with what you're passing it. So if you pass it a string, it'll say, okay, that's it. So I'm going to pass in that as the method call to it. The parameters to it are going to be next. The arguments, these are arguments. This is going to be the name of the string variable that we're on. So let's jump into here, look at this code, grab this bit right here, and I'm just going to paste this here. So this is going to be active declaration.name. Okay? So now we've added that to the if statement. What's it not liking now? So add if has maybe got a problem. Let's put a semicolon out at the end of that. So we've added the if. What does it not like? Let's see what's going on here. Build method call. String name, string arguments. Let's see what's going on here. Name. That looks right to me.
Do you need to have the active declaration
I'm not sure why build method call is failing there. Let's compile and see what's going on here. And yeah, let's just do a build and see what happens.
Mark, does it need to be an array of arguments, even though there's only one of them?
Okay, so I wonder if that's interfering. Let's see what we got now. String has some invalid arguments. I'm not sure why that's
No.
failing. That looks like it
Have I gone off?
should work to me
Have I disappeared? It should be an array,
on that.
not a single item.
What did you say?
I believe it should
Well, it
be
looks
in
like
an
it's
array.
actually looking for an. Hold on, I just want to see what else. Object, name. All right, so it's looking like it needs to have this as arguments. Let's do it this way instead. You know, I totally am forgetting the syntax for this. Let me just.
Mark, has my audio come back yet?
Wait.
Hello?
Yes, it is, but it's a little low, is what it is.
Okay. Okay.
So,
I believe you need to have an array of strings, even though you only have one.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. All right, so I'm getting there. That's what I want to pass in. So it looks like that's what I need. So it's looking for arguments in there. So that hopefully that'll be happy with that now. It looks like it's getting a little happier. And so we've added the if, and let's declare local for the result of that. That is the if that we've added. And now inside the if itself, we want to add a return statement. And so we want to go into new element builder. In fact, let me rename this so it's a little bit, doesn't take up so much code. And so we're going to come into element builder dot add return, like that. And the parent is going to be the add if call that we've built already. And now we can go to element builder dot generate code. And one of the parameters is the language ID, so we can actually specify another language. If we specify no parameters, it's in the active language. So I'll just take that. And then we want to actually insert it. So we can go to ea.textDocument.insert text, and it's looking for a location and where to put it. Here, let's declare local for this. This is the code we've just generated. And so for insert text, we want a source point where it's going to be. Let's see what we have here for the, if we have an active, so we do have caret. Let's see what type that is. That's a type source point. So we can just say put it right at the caret. Okay? So the code I haven't written yet is code that finds the right place to put it, like on the next line. So right now it's going to just stick this right in the middle. So maybe I'll do this caret dot let's see here, dot line, comma, ea dot caret.
Yeah, line plus one.
Well, let's change this to maybe
so
0.
The first character of the next line.
Wait, Rory, say that again. I didn't hear you.
I was saying if you put it on the line plus 1, comma 1.
Yep.
Because I believe it's a one-based mechanism, and
that's what I'm going to do. And put it
in the next line.
I'll put it on the next line of code. Is what I'll do. And I'll maybe add a character return line feed at the end. And so
Mark,
that would essentially do it.
Sorry, Mark. I think the 0 needs to be a 1, because I believe it's the first column.
All right,
it's
we'll
not
give it
a
a shot.
0-based.
All right. So this is blocking right here. Let's close this down. And we'll do a build. There we go. It built. Let's start up a new instance of Visual Studio, and then we'll test that and see if that works. So this is, I'm not stepping through, so this is presuming a lot, right? So if it's not available, whatever, we may have to go back and look at it. But let's give it a shot and see what we get. So we're looking for a variable of type string, like that, and so there it is. So step 1, context, it's matching. Add is null or empty. You see it? Okay, at this point, everybody should be going like, oh my freaking goodness.
I know everyone in this room with me is cheering.
All right, good. Yeah, so everybody here is actually just staring at me. We actually have people, the reason why is they all came in about 15 minutes ago, and they're like, what? What has he been doing? So add is null or empty. Now let's select it and check it out. Oh my goodness. Will you look at that? So
Woohoo.
did I just do that? I think I just did it.
Yep.
Control KD right there. So it's generating that code. So so there you go. The only thing that's missing is a format call at the end. That's easy to add. We just come in here and we'll say ea.textDocument.format. I think there's a call to format in there. There you go, right there. There's also a variance of this. There's format line and format selection, so we can pass those in as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So so to answer your question, there are a number of ways to get that to go from here and then generate the code you need to get out to the next piece, right? To generate code intelligently based on where you are using CodeRush. And for everybody who just walked in, I'm doing a live CodeRush webinar. We do these every Tuesday at 3 o'clock local time, 12 o'clock on the West Coast, and every Tuesday we do them for an hour on different topics. We answer questions live like we're doing right now. I'm with Rory. He's in the UK. We've got people that are online live asking questions. We're answering them. That's what's just happened. So we're talking about building plugins right now using CodeRush and the API underneath it to have intelligent code generation. So, Rory, do we have any other questions, or are we done?
I think we're essentially done.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, then, given the fact that I've got a bunch of people out here, I'm going to switch over to a CodeRush demo. Amanda, I'm going to let you wrap us out of here, and then we can, I'll shut us down.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark and Rory. So next week, Mark and Rory are back at the same time, like Mark said, 3 p.m. East Coast, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with advanced CodeRush plugins. Working with the text document and text view is next Tuesday. We have more webinars coming your way this week. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., End User Designer Localization with reporting evangelist Seth Warras, also live from DevConnections Orlando. Learn how to localize your end user report designer. In a global economy, it is essential that we accommodate all of our users. This session will describe the process of localizing the end user report designer to suit your international needs. And Thursday, DevExpress welcomes back Oliver Sturm with a complete tour of DevExpress ORM, Express Persistent Objects, XPO. And Friday, more XPO goodness. XPO evangelist Gary Short presents XPO Concepts #1, Part 1 of a 2-part webinar focusing on the core concepts of XPO. So visit devexpress.com/webinars and register away. Again, if you missed anything from this webinar or want to review any previous CodeRush webinars or check out hundreds of product tutorials, visit us on the DevExpress channel at tv.devexpress.com. Again, thank you, Mark, for doing this live, and Rory for being here. Thank you all for joining us, and thanks for choosing DevExpress.